Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to make a gorgeous tray. I just know it is going to turn out amazing with some new designs from Slide Hustle. I completely dropped the ball on making a fall tray, and I had them send me some Christmas stuff, and I'm seriously blown away. But before we look at the Christmas stuff, let's look at the beautiful fall ones that Slide Hustle has already sent prior to this. So this was my favorite one, and the one that I did intend on making a tray with. Another barn scene. All of these barn and truck scenes, oh my gosh. And the florals, everything just goes together so good. The colors are beautiful and vibrant. I think that was the first one. I have a couple of duplicates in here, yeah. But the colors are just so beautiful and vibrant. And, oh, look at that. I love them. Okay, so there was the fall ones. And now for Christmas. So in addition to our Christmas pre-cut circles, we also have some of the Super V splits for Christmas as well. Loving these designs, especially this. I think that's my favorite one, and I'm going to try to make something out of this one. And let's see. I'm going to save my three favorite for last. Like a snow globe, Merry Christmas, Frosty's Christmas. Look at that. And that was one of my favorites too. Pink Christmas for both of these. That's the snow globe in pink. Get the detail. Now, shortly after this video post, Slide Hustle is having the biggest sale that they have ever had. So I will get all of those details from them, and we'll post the sale date, discounts, and information, whatever they give me, down below in the description for y'all, so that you can get all of these at a discount. And this, I would say this one and this guy are my favorites. Gosh. I mean, honestly, you could even get, I don't have enough trays to do this, but you can get 3 circle trays similar to this without the handles, and do a series of 3, maybe side by side, that all have the same color to them, and make a whole set. And this not be a tray, just hang it up on the wall. I mean, as Christmas pictures. They're stunning. She does so good. Susan does so good. Okay. So before we pick which one we're going to use, which is going to be really hard, this tray is from the Spring Shop at Hobby Lobby. I'm pretty sure they just changed the color and, and the sticker and have these out year round. But I always like to grab my trays at the end of the season. Well, not at the end of the season. I would guess you would say it's probably in June or July that they start putting the Spring Shop stuff on clearance, because they're already putting out Christmas stuff. Yeah. But anyway, you can get them on clearance at the end of their season, or you can get these kind of trays at TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Marshalls, all of those discount stores. Now this one has some grooves in it, and I have already attempted to seal these grooves in, and it was completely absorbed into the board. Like, all of this was full of UV resin and the board just absorbed it. So now we're gonna have resin down in those cracks that my UV light cannot reach. So this one is toast. Fantastic, right? So what we're gonna try to do this time is put some adhesive apothecary binding potion on it, and then we're going to put some epoxy down in these grooves to seal it in. This took way more effort than I wanted it to. If I can recommend any sort of board or tray to use with epoxy, I would 100% recommend not getting one with grooves in it. The only reason that I bought this is because it was just a couple bucks on clearance. But this, usually I got a lot of good things to say about the trays at Hobby Lobby, but this one I don't recommend at all. This is probably the cheapest tray, I think, cheapest made tray I've ever had. The ones from the $5 Target section are made better than this one. So anyway, rant over. This was difficult to cover these lines in because the wood kept absorbing all of the binding potion. I actually even went over this with Rust-Oleum matte clear coat, and you could still feel the wood grain. There wasn't even any residue on top of the wood. So we finally got it the way that I wanted. It was also uneven in the middle. That's why we got some of these spots when I level sanded it. But the grooves are covered up and we're ready to go. It is pouring down rain outside. So I am not going to tape off my board and spray paint. I'm going to steal one of my kids' Arteza tempera paints. She steals my scissors all the time, so it's fine. Right? That way I can put it the same distance in between our handle holes here. Okay. Looking pretty good there. The squeegee won't fit on here just yet. Whoa. No, 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 no. Whew, I got nervous there for a second. Okay. Looking good. Okay, so it's time to add on our glitter. Our stones are going to come over the edge a little bit, so I'm not going to be super picky about how perfect I get my line around the edge. So we're going to add on our glitter, and I do believe I'm going to add just a little bit of red in here. So let me grab a red glitter that's going to match.
My brain was obviously not braining at this time. A water-based glue and a washable paint is not going to work. So here's what we had to do.
Okay, so we are Now removing the adhesive and the paint, and I guess we're just going to put the glitter straight onto the board. But shout out for the Slide Hustle vinyl, right? Because the baby wipes aren't taking anything off of it. I've had some vinyl before from a company that I've never been affiliated with, but I've had some vinyl from a different company before that I used a baby wipe on top of, and it just completely wiped off the ink. Okay. Let's give this a good wipe to make sure we don't have any residue on it. Let's see. No ink coming off at all. We'll make sure we get this super dry. And then I will seal everything in before. I'll seal everything in after we put our glitter on before putting epoxy on this, because those baby wipes will cause some repelling. Let's try this again, shall we? Okay, so all of our glue is dry and it is going to be tacky. We're going to use Tan Lines from Tay Spray Creations, and I'm just going to sprinkle this around. Not giving the best coverage ever, because I do want to come in with my red and sprinkle that on as well. We'll kind of go back and forth with both colors. Okay, and now our red is Cereal 2.0. Look at that. Just gonna go in a little heavier with our red. Grab a brush. probably make less of a mess if I use a chip brush to move this around. So I'm just working my glitter down into my glue. And then we'll knock off all of that excess here in a minute after we've got our glitter moved around and covering all of those areas. All right, I'm gonna go knock off the excess. Okay. Here it is with all of that excess glitter knocked off, and I did brush off any excess that was on top of here. I'm going to use Rust-Oleum Matte Clear Coat, and I'm going to seal all of these in. Again, I'm not worried about getting anything on the edges because they definitely need to be smoothed out using my sander. So I'm not going to tape anything off. I'm just going to spray seal this, allow it to dry, and then we'll come in with our epoxy and our stones. Alright, so I have spray sealed all of our glitter in and mixed up about 100 milliliters of a little extra incorporated epoxy. We're using their Turbo Fast Set. I'm going to go all the way around the edge first. I don't want to put any sort of mica on top of my glitter because to me, it just looks like micro bubbles, and I cannot stand that. So I'm going to go all the way around the edge with a little bit of epoxy first. Then we're going to add in some crushed diamonds. And go in the middle. That way, what's in the middle has just a little bit, not too much, of shimmer. Okay, let's mix that just a little bit and pour the rest right here in the middle. So I'm going to go around these edges and just push my epoxy over top of my glitter. And then we're going to spread the center out. Crushed diamonds looks like little snowflakes over top of our bottle. Alright. So for those of you that are new to the channel and hear my voice is muffled, I'm breathing really hard because I've got a cold again. And it is hard to breathe in the respirator, but anytime you mix part A and part B of your epoxy, you want to wear a respirator to protect yourself from the harmful fumes and the chemical reaction that happens when you mix part A and part B. So always have your respirator on when you're mixing epoxy. Okay, so before we add on our stones,
we're going to go ahead and put our handles back into place. We will not be using the screws that come with it, but I am going to go ahead and place these handles on here down into our epoxy. Uh-oh. Epoxy's going through. Whoops. Okay. Let's get those even. Okay. All right, we've got our handles in place. Now we can go around with our stones. I'm going to use a mixture of clear, brown, and gold. These are Firestones. These are from Amazon. They look so good under epoxy. Now the ones that are clear, you'll be able to see through. And do not worry about the sharpness. You just want to make sure that you get these good and flat. Get them to lay down into your epoxy. That way you'll be able to see through them, or it won't look like there's a bubble underneath. So we're going to let this dry for about an hour to 2 hours, just enough for this epoxy to set up. And then we will come in with our final coat of epoxy over our stones and our image.
Okay, so like I said before, anytime you're mixing epoxy, you want to make sure you are wearing your respirator, but I cannot handle it at the moment. So that is why my voice is not muffled right now. Just make sure that you are wearing your respirator when you're using epoxy. I don't think enough creators talk about the importance of using a respirator with resin. So anytime I'm unable to, I just want to make sure that I stress that. It's very rare that I don't have one on. It's just struggle. So what we're doing is taking this epoxy, and I'm trying not to dump it on here like I just did, but I'm taking my epoxy and drizzling it. You want a drizzle on top of all of our stones. This is going to seal them in, shine them up, and it'll also get rid of any sharp edges on our glass. Now, I mixed another 100 milliliters. You don't need much. You would think that you need quite a bit to do this, but you don't need much epoxy. You just have to drizzle it over top, and then whenever you torch, it will all kind of level out. That is all that we have to do. All of these stones look beautiful now. It takes the sharp edge away from it, not just to the touch, but visually too. So it softens up those stones and just makes it look like wet ice all around this tray, and it looks beautiful. So we're gonna let this dry.
Here's our beautiful finished tray. That little extra ink epoxy just makes all of our glass pieces look like ice around the side. It looks amazing. I hope that y'all have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below and I will answer them as quickly as possible. All materials that we have used will be listed down there as well with some coupon codes for you. That is all for today. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.